In this video you will hear 4 Stoic lessons from people who have lived for over 100 years. These lessons will help you control your emotions, live fully, and find peace, no matter how challenging life is. Watch until the end to change your perspective on life. What truly matters after living more than a century? It's not wealth. It's not fame. When you've witnessed 100 years of life pass by, what's left are not the things you owned, but the lessons you learned. Simple, profound, unshakable. Today we turn our ears and our hearts to the voices of those who have lived through wars, revolutions, love stories, and quiet mornings. They've seen life unfold in every color. And in their eyes we find something rare: clarity. These centenarians, people who've lived past 100, carry with them more than memories. They carry wisdom. And whether they know it or not, they embody a philosophy that dates back over 2,000 years. They are living examples of Stoicism, not the cold, emotionless version some imagine, but the real kind. The kind rooted in courage, in acceptance, in knowing what we can control and what we must let go. One woman, 104 years old, said, "Every morning I wake up, I thank the day. I don't ask for anything else. Gratitude. Presence. That's Stoicism." A man, 102, laughed when asked about stress. He said, "Why waste time worrying? If I can fix it, I fix it. If I can't, I go for a walk." That's Amor Fati, the love of fate. They didn't read Epictetus or Seneca. They lived it. Not chasing control. Not drowning in anxiety. But showing up every day with a kind of quiet strength. There's something deeply inspiring about that. Because in a world addicted to speed and noise, they remind us. Slowness is not weakness. Silence is not emptiness. It is in the slow moments, the still moments, that we often see the truth. These elders don't talk about hustle culture. They talk about kindness. They don't measure time in hours and minutes, but in meaning. And that's the gift they offer us. Not in books. Not in lectures. But in the way they sip tea. The way they smile without rushing. The way they hold pain and still choose joy. So, what remains after a century of living? A deeper understanding. A lighter heart. And a clear vision of what truly matters. Not what you own, but how you live. Not what happens to you, but how you respond. Let's listen. Let's learn. And maybe, just maybe, let's start living as if we, too, had 100 years of wisdom to guide us. Because the truth is, we don't need to live a century to begin living wisely. We just need to start now. We can't control time. We can't pause it. We can't rewind it. But what we can control is how we live each moment. The Stoics never promised we could avoid aging. They never claimed we could stop the years from passing. What they taught instead was more powerful. We can shape how we meet each day. With purpose. With presence. With strength. Cliff is 101 years old. But he doesn't count the years. He counts the days well lived. And that makes all the difference. When asked about his secret, he didn't talk about medicine or diets. He said, "I try to make every day matter. If I wake up, it's a good day. What I do with it, that's up to me." That is Stoicism in its purest form. Not just an idea. A way of life. The world measures age in numbers. Cliff measures it in meaning. And that's the shift that changes everything. You see, the Stoics believed the good life wasn't found in how long you lived, but in how deeply you lived. Not in the years behind you, but in the choices in front of you. Cliff wakes up with a mindset many people never find. He doesn't chase what he can't control. He doesn't cling to the past. He lives fully, simply, intentionally. And in doing so, he teaches us something priceless. That every day is a gift. That we can choose how we respond even when life isn't easy. That attitude shapes experience. Seneca once said, "While we wait for life, life passes." Cliff doesn't wait. He lives. He laughs often. He helps others. He takes walks, reads, sits in silence, and reflects. He doesn't waste time worrying about things outside his control. He focuses on the only place his power truly exists. Within himself. That's what Stoicism offers us. Not a shield from age. But a compass through it. So the question is not, how many years will we live? The question is, how many days will we truly be alive? Because the truth is, you don't need to be 101 to live like Cliff. You just need to begin now. To stop waiting. To start choosing. Each day. With clarity. With intention. With heart. That's the Stoic path. And it's available to us all. Right here. Right now. Pain is not weakness. Grief is not failure. And emotions? They're not enemies. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suppress how we feel. It invites us to face it, to hold it, and to rise above it. That's the heart of this ancient philosophy, Not cold detachment but courageous acceptance. Because real strength isn't about not feeling. It's about feeling fully and still choosing to carry on. There's a story of a mother who lost her child. The kind of pain that brings silence. That reshapes a soul. At first she thought she couldn't go on. She believed the sadness would swallow her whole. But then, slowly, quietly, she began to understand. This pain, this deep ache in her chest was love. Love with nowhere to go. And instead of pushing it away, she let it stay. Not as a wound, but as a memory. As a presence. As a part of her that would never fade. The Stoics never told us to run from suffering. They showed us how to walk through it. Seneca lost a child. Marcus Aurelius lost several. They wrote about their grief, not with bitterness but with clarity. Not denying the hurt but transforming it into wisdom. Because even the heaviest sorrow can be a doorway. To deeper compassion. To greater resilience. To a life lived more consciously. When we accept that pain is part of life, we stop wasting energy resisting it, and we begin to grow through it. This is what Stoicism teaches. To feel loss and still give. To hold sadness and still smile. To break and rebuild piece by piece stronger than before. That mother? She wakes up now with a quiet kind of grace. She honors her child not by forgetting, but by living a life full of love. She plants flowers. She writes letters. She helps others heal. And in doing so, she becomes a light. Not despite her pain, but because of it. This is not about being fearless. It's about being brave with fear. Not about never crying, but about finding meaning in the tears. So if you're holding grief, you are not alone, and you are not broken. You are becoming. Let the pain shape you. Let the love remain. And step forward not to forget, but to live. Stronger, softer, wiser. This is Stoicism. Not the absence of emotion, but the triumph of the human spirit through it. Happiness is not found in circumstances. It's found in how we respond to them. The Stoics knew this truth long before modern psychology. They understood that life doesn't always go according to plan. But how we choose to meet each challenge, that is where our power lies. Imagine someone at the age of 100. They've lived through wars, losses, and countless changes. Yet, instead of bitterness, they radiate warmth. Instead of resignation, they shine with energy. Why? Because they've learned that happiness isn't about the external world. It's about the world within. There's a woman, 100 years old, who still smiles every day. When asked her secret, she didn't talk about longevity tips. She simply said, "I choose to love. I choose to smile. Life is too short for anything else." This isn't naive optimism. It's a profound Stoic understanding of how life works. We can't control the storms that come our way, but we can control our response to them. We can choose to greet hardship with resilience. We can choose to greet joy with gratitude. The Stoics taught that happiness doesn't depend on how much we have, but on how much we can appreciate what's right in front of us. A loving heart, as they said, doesn't age with time. It grows deeper. It grows stronger. At 100, this woman still finds joy in small things. The sound of birds singing. The warmth of the sun on her face. The laughter of children playing. For her, life is not something to endure. It's something to embrace moment by moment. The Stoics didn't just teach us how to endure hardship. They taught us how to live fully, no matter what life throws our way. You see, happiness is a choice, not a result. It's not something you wait for, it's something you create. And just like this woman, we have the power to choose it. To choose to look at life with a heart full of love. To see the beauty even in the cracks. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to find peace in the imperfection. It's about being present and finding joy in now, regardless of the past or future. So the question isn't, how much happiness can I find today? It's, how can I choose to live happily today? And the answer? It's inside you. It's in how you respond. It's in the love you choose to give. It's in the gratitude you choose to feel. As the Stoics taught us, happiness is not a destination. It's a way of being. And you can begin it right now. Life is not easy. And the Stoics never promised it would be. They didn't offer us a path free from pain, loss, or struggle. What they offered was something far more powerful. The wisdom to face life's challenges with strength, calm, and clarity. You see, Stoicism is not about avoiding hardship. It's about how we meet it when it comes. The Stoics teach us that we can't control everything. We can't stop bad things from happening. We can't shield ourselves from the storms of life. But we can control how we respond. We can choose to stand firm no matter how strong the winds blow. Imagine walking a difficult path, one full of obstacles. It might feel overwhelming. it might seem impossible. But if you have a steady heart, if your mind is clear, you will keep walking, one step at a time. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, faced unimaginable pressure. As the emperor, he dealt with war, betrayal, and personal loss. Yet, his writings are filled with reflections on how to stay peaceful, even in the midst of chaos. He didn't ask for an easy life. He asked for the strength to meet life head-on, with courage, with grace. The Stoic path is not about avoiding challenges, but about learning to remain unshaken when they come. It's about finding peace not by eliminating stress, but by changing our response to it. The Stoics knew that our minds are powerful. When we choose to cultivate inner calm, when we choose to act from a place of wisdom rather than fear, we find peace in the midst of turmoil. This doesn't mean we won't feel pain. It doesn't mean we won't face tough moments. But it does mean we'll walk through them differently. With a heart that's steady. With a mind that's clear. With the courage to keep going. The Stoics understood that it's not about the length of the journey, but about how we walk it. Do we walk with purpose? Do we walk with resilience? Do we walk with peace? This path is not easy, but with a strong heart we can walk it. And in the end we will arrive, calm, unshaken, and at peace. So when life gets tough, remember this. You may not be able to change your circumstances, but you can change your response. And in that choice lies your true power. You may not have an easy life, but with a steady heart you will always find your way. And that is the path to true peace. They didn't read Marcus Aurelius. They didn't quote Seneca. But their lives? Their lives are the most profound philosophy you'll ever find. It's easy to think that wisdom only comes from books, long written pages of thoughts, theories, and ideas. But sometimes the most powerful lessons aren't written at all. They are lived. And there are people around us, every day, who embody the Stoic philosophy without ever knowing the term. Take a moment to think about those who live simply, yet profoundly. People who meet hardship with grace. People who greet each day with purpose. People who live in the present, not clinging to the past or worrying about the future. These are the living Stoics. Their actions are their philosophy. Their lives are their teachings. You don't need to be 100 years old to grasp Stoicism. You just need to live each day with intention. Because the Stoics taught us that happiness doesn't come from circumstances, but from our response to them. One man I know never read a word of philosophy but lives it every day. He wakes early not because he has to, but because he chooses to. He works hard not for wealth but because he believes in giving his best. His life is a perfect example of Stoicism in action, living with purpose, presence, and love. The true wisdom of Stoicism isn't in complex theories, it's in how we live each day. When we live with intention, when we live with meaning, we stop waiting for life to happen to us. We make life happen. Live as if today is the most meaningful day of your life. That's the Stoic path. Because in the end, life itself is the greatest philosophy of all.